Egypt, there was some evidence that the Eye of Horus is really the pineal gland.
Oh, really?
And that's what that symbol is. Like, they think that they're so similar in the way they're shaped, the actual pineal gland, and look at the eye on the left.
Whoa.
Yeah. See that wing off the side and the way it drops down right from the eyeball? Boy, that's fucking similar. It's entirely possible that they figured that out somewhere along the line, that through yogic breathing methods or some sort of psychedelic drugs they found, that they were achieving a hallucinogenic state, and they were able to somehow or another isolate where that state is being initiated. And if it's being initiated endogenously by your body, like through psychedelic breathing, that's probably where it's being produced.
I will say the DMT shit is the shapes that I could see.
Yeah.
Where I was well aware that they were a bit more than three-dimensional. How on earth could I perceive this shape? And when I can't, and you can't come back with it, felt so much like not making me hallucinate, but like it was taking away a hallucination.
Yes.
And that is there's something so terrifying about that, but it's also like, wow, even if it's just shit in your head, you're like, why would that even be in my head?
So your body's producing DMT, 100%. Your lungs produce it and your liver produces it. That's a fact.
Really?
So yes, Cottonwood Research Foundation. They did a series of tests with rats, and they proved that live rats have DMT produced by the pineal gland.
Really?
Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that humans do too, but they're pretty sure they do. It's entirely possible that whatever the fuck consciousness is can pass from this stage into another stage. I would hesitate to say that's exactly what happens, is because there's no proof one way or
I think this is something. I don't believe in simulation.
Me neither.
Why don't you believe in simulation?
There's no evidence.
Really smart people say,
I don't go-
according to probability theory, it's more likely that we're in a simulation. Almost inevitable. Unless we get hit with an asteroid or start a nuclear war, it's inevitable that technology reaches a point where simulation's possible. If human beings keep going, we definitely will create a simulation. It's just a matter of time. So if that's the case, how do we know that we're not in one already? And we really don't. Every day we go to sleep, and every day we wake up, and we assume and we have faith that all that stuff that we remember is really how life went on before we were awake. But we really don't know. Who the fuck knows what's transpiring? Who knows where your consciousness goes? Who knows where you are? You're assuming that all of the stuff that you know and all the stuff that you experience is 100% real.
But what if it is real?
But it could be true. It could be, but there's
But you know
zero
what?
evidence.
Winston Churchill in 1939 wrote an essay about the fact that there could be life on other planets, around other stars, and we should search for it. Now, he didn't have a chance to publish it because he became prime minister and then had to fight the Second World War against the Nazi regime. So much money was wasted in that war. If that money was allocated to the search for extraterrestrial life, the way that Churchill envisioned it before the war, we might have known the answer by now. And what I'm saying is, this is just an example for how non-intelligent we are. We are not working together towards a better future. We're fighting each other, and that's the answer to your question, that we might not live very long.
CIA?
Yeah.
Did I tell you about this?
No, yeah.
He did crazy shit. They were all on acid. They committed murder. He directed them to commit murder. The CIA doctor was a psychologist or a psychiatrist dosing people up with LSD, running studies on prisoners, getting students to run studies, getting scientists to run studies. Not even knowing they were doing it through the CIA. The CIA's MK Ultra project, through LSD and hippies, LSD and mind control.
Manson was tied up with the CIA?
Oh my God. Almost definitely a part of these fucking psychedelics, LSD experiments that they were doing on hippies. Trying to get someone to commit murder and not even realize they did it. He violated his parole. Almost definitely allowed him to get out, let him loose, let him free, supply him with acid.
Theory. Now, it's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. And it speaks to a mystery. We have a suddenly doubling of the human brain. The brain cavity doubled in size in about 2 million years. There's no explanation for this currently. Now think of this. Our primate ancestors are going across the savannah. The most significant fleshy mushroom going out of poop in Africa is Psilocybe cubensis. You're hungry, you're with your clan, they ingest these mushrooms as a clan. massive input for anyone who's eaten these mushrooms. Huge amounts of data is coming in. Fractal patterns, geometrical, landscapes occur. You have greater courage. We know now that it's been clinically proven, psilocybin allows you to reset and have different neurological pathways to respond to fear, overcoming the fear of conditioned response, potentially PTSD, and there's a lot of research on this currently. Hopkins University, as you probably well know, New York University, UCLA, elsewhere in Europe. But this wouldn't happen one time with one hominid group. It wouldn't happen 2 times, 10 times. It happened millions and millions of times over millions and millions of years. Even though we may not be able to prove it, I ask people to suspend their disbelief. There's a slime mold, called Fusarium polycephalum. And this slime mold is very, very good at navigating through mazes. The Japanese are so clever at this. They designed a nutrient-like maze replicating Tokyo and the Japanese subway system. With all the major cities, the nodes around Tokyo, each of those nodes had a piece of oat on them, which was a source of nutrition, and then they let the slime mold then grow. And first it grew out randomly, exploratorily, and then after about 28 hours, it reorganized itself in the most efficient way possible and reorganized the Japanese subway system in a more efficient manner than it's designed today. Thus, they said, not me, not Paul Stamets, this is a demonstration of cellular intelligence.
Whoa.
So this is the tip of the proverbial mycelial iceberg.
I've done like real blowout mushroom sessions or blowout DMT sessions. I always think that they would leave the door open to the impossible, because it is impossible and you experienced it. Even if you're imagining it, I couldn't imagine that. So how am I imagining that? How am I imagining something in such incredible, vivid color and detail and knowledge and love and all these different things you experience in that state? That state is otherworldly. The fact that that is accessible at all, I don't care if it's through a molecule or through a yoga session. I don't care how it's accessible, but the fact that that's accessible at all leaves open to me the I don't know, because I didn't know that that was a thing. So once I've experienced that, I'm like, oh, well, all this flat plane of existence that we take for granted, that we think this is everything around us, this is the whole environment we have to worry out for, this might be just one fucking stage on the radio dial of experiences and of dimensions that are interacting with us. We just don't have the senses to the story behind the parasite? Toxoplasmosis. It's a fascinating parasite, and this is what it does. It gets into rats, and it hijacks the reward systems. It hijacks the way the rat's brain works, and it makes the rat sexually attracted to the smell of cat urine. So it tricks the rat into getting close to the cat. It reproduces inside the cat's gut. That's the only way this parasite reproduces. How many thousands of times does a rat have to get eaten by the cat or killed by the cat before they figure out how to do it right, where it's real consistent? Like, that is a complex deception. And then it gets to people, because people love cats, right? So they tell pregnant women, never touch kitty litter. Because that stuff can get in you. And if it gets in you, it fucks with the child's development, impulsive behavior. Researchers have discovered a small spot on the beak of pigeons and some of the birds that contains magnetite. Magnetite is a magnetized rock which may act as a tiny GPS unit for the homing pigeon by giving it information about its position relative to Earth's poles. Holy fuck. In humans, deposits of magnetite have been found in bones in our noses. Do you think we use the Earth's magnetic field to know which way we are headed? Wow, that's incredible. Maybe it's something that like atrophies without use. Researchers have also found some specialized cells in birds' eyes that may help them see magnetic fields. Wow! It is thought that birds can use both the beak magnetite and the eye sensors to travel long distances.
The history of the United States is 100% based on human trafficking.
100%.
Our country's foundation is human trafficking. They fucking kidnapped black people and made them work for free. George Washington, did you know this, was the #1 slaveholder in Virginia, wherever the fuck he was? Yeah, he was the #1 slaveholder. George Washington was a human trafficker. Supposedly his wooden teeth thing, it was slave teeth. In his mouth, the teeth of people that were kidnapped that he was making work for free. This makes Dahmer look like a fucking Boy Scout. The main thing is this asshole who's in statues
That's
everywhere
insane.
was a kidnapper who like took teeth out of people's mouths and put it in his own mouth. That's fucked up.
But here's the thing, man. Should you allow people to just pull down the statues?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
What do you think? Because do you think? Here's what I think.
What if there were Jeffrey Dahmer statues all over LA?